Welcome to the My Julie podcast. I'm your host, Minnie Latif, and the rumours are true. It does take a village. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we got the absolute honour of interviewing Chent. I asked around and said, can anyone recommend to me the ultimate male feminist? I wanted to really address the issue with masculine toxicity that's going out in, particularly in social media. I just know from my own personal experience that not all men, and predominantly majority of men, are not like that. We want to know who our allies here are, what they look like, what they stand for, and just give us all hope that not all men are out there against women. They're for women, and they're still very much in their masculine. This is just one example of what it looks like. It was a really enlightening conversation. Gives us all hope. Stay tuned. Chent's a good one. Chent, welcome to the My Julie podcast.
Thank you, thank you.
We always start with the same question with everyone, which is, how many years have you lived?
35 years.
Okay. So you're in your mid-30s. You're not originally from Melbourne, are you?
No, Auckland, New Zealand.
How long have you been in Australia for?
Coming on 2 years, but I've been flying back and forth for about 5 or 6.
Okay. Is this long-term Melbourne for you, do you think?
For now.
For now. Okay. You're a little bit of a traveller of the world. You've been going back and forth in Dubai. Where else have you been in the last few years?
Malaysia, a lot of Asia, a lot of back and forth, New Zealand, Australia, a lot of Pacific Islands, and as of recent, last 2 years, the UAE.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Lots going on over there, eh?
That's another podcast.
It is. And it's actually one of the reasons why we reached out and said we want some men on, but we actually want real feminist men to come in, because I'm just going to go right in with it, okay? I'm sure you don't mind, Chent, at all, but men are getting a bad rap out there. And it's this whole misunderstanding that not all men are the same, and there really is good guys out there. And I have gone out and I have asked my network of friends, if you were to recommend a feminist man, the good guy, who would you recommend? And your name came up. So that's a kind of nice reputation to have. So congratulations on that. Yeah, but I'm sure you know better than anyone, this whole concept of toxic masculinity is debilitating for a lot of the next generation of guys, particularly in their early 20s, coming up and going, like, I want to be a man, but then I also don't want to offend the woman. And I'm not sure, like, is chivalry cool, or is that offending a woman? And there's this huge amount of confusion. And then we have this disparity with who makes the money in the relationship. So now we don't have the same roles that we used to have back decades before. And there's a lot of confusion, right? And women are going, I don't need a man. I can run my own show. Then she goes home and she's swiping online, looking for a man anyway, but not telling anyone that, because she's actually feeling bad that she wants a man, right? But she shouldn't want a man. And we're just in one mixed up fruit salad right now. And I'm here to talk with you really openly about, what does masculinity mean for you?
Wow, what a topic. Let's see where this goes. I feel masculinity is one side of the coin, and it's important for a man to understand the other side of the coin. But in this society, where does a man even start? Because you're gonna start unconsciously being fed on what you see online, and a lot of it is just hurt people projecting. Right. You know, and therefore you start to believe truth in these projections, and you associate your hit with their hit, and this skewed perception of reality starts being formed, where a man it's the whole red pill movement with the man, and that every woman is a manipulator, etc. That you can go down that rabbit hole, and then social media has echo chambers. The more you watch, the more you're going to see that. Yeah, of course. So then I feel, coming back to it, like, masculinity is just one side of a double-sided coin. But also it's for you to understand what masculinity feels like and looks like for you. I don't think there's a cookie cutter thing. Yeah. And a lot of that really comes down to your influences. Yeah. You're not shy to say that you're comfortable in your feminine energy. 100%. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about that whilst you just turn that mug for the camera to see that masculine man on camera?
When I say that, what is your feminine energy when you see it or feel it?
I would say, actually, what a recent ex-partner taught me
Mhm.
is to feel my feelings. Like, as a
Mm.
man, we don't really feel, or we have a masculine way of feeling. So
Mm.
feminine is like, my feminine, I feel, is to be open, to not have bravado, to not protect, to not, I
Mhm.
can come up with a different energy on here, or I
Mhm.
can just open my heart,
Be vulnerable.
be vulnerable, ironically.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Like, even like, I can feel the strong masculine in me as I'm choosing to be vulnerable and be more in my feminine right now. I can
Mm.
feel it, almost like a little bit of fight or flight deep down inside that
Yeah.
doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that man that thinks he has to be strong.
Yeah.
But I can see that now.
Yeah, it's funny because I've heard many women in relationships who have a very atypical masculine husband or partner or whatnot. And when, say, like road rage or something like that comes along and he starts to lose his mind because he's protecting his woman, his family, and she doesn't like it. Like, to her, just using that as an
Mm,
example, that's scary for women. Like, we don't want to see you lose it inappropriately as well, because, you're actually endangering us. That doesn't make us feel protected. You're actually making us feel more unsafe.
mm,
And so the idea of you being in your feminine actually amplifies your masculine, I think, is just truly a topic that I could talk about for hours and hours and days. And I have. I'm on one with this one at the moment. But yeah, it's an unspoken rule. We do. I will speak for myself, right? I do want my man to make me feel protected and safe. But that doesn't mean you need to go slice a person, right? It's in many other aspects.
true.
Do you feel that you understand that's what women are actually wanting in their partner or the men?
I'll be honest, I think it's a continual learning, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to be open to it. I feel I've even been guilty of swinging too far into the feminine and actually, like, suppressing my masculine, and then
Mm.
losing that dynamic of, like, I want to lead, but I think I might be a toxic. I might come off as toxic masculine if I lead too much,
Yeah, gotcha.
and
Yeah.
I've sort of swung the other side before, and I've even
Yeah.
just learned that recently. So it's
Yeah.
like realizing that a lot of, like, my innate man leadership is not taboo, because that's sort of like even me being a victim to what I see online, and even just seeing more feminine content,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that I shouldn't do these things, but
Mm.
that is also like my innate masculinity.
Yeah,
So
close.
it's this little dance again of
Yeah.
navigating what the middle looks like, and I guess also finding or attracting that partner that understands that and sees it at that level too.
Yeah, that's connection, right?
100%.
Yeah. And to get true intimacy is to be able to be vulnerable enough to just be like, you go your way, I go mine. And hopefully we can swing together, because life is going to throw us so many curveballs. It's not always going to be picnics and,
100%.
cheering champagne glasses. What a true successful relationship is one that survives the turbulence, and
Mm,
turbulence always comes, and we can't predict it because that's life. No one could predict a pandemic coming,
true.
and that either built relationships or broke them, and there's a million other examples. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You said you've had an interesting childhood.
Hmm.
Where should we start, Chant?
Okay, let's start with the, I guess, on topic,
Mm-hmm.
the mother passing. That was
Oh,
where the dynamics sort of went out the window for
I'm
me.
so sorry. How old were you?
14 at the time. So mum got diagnosed with cancer when I was 10, and she passed when I was 14. And I never had all my extended families in Malaysia, so, and I don't have any sisters.
Brothers?
I have one older brother and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Where were
household,
you in New Zealand? At Auckland at the time.
Auckland, yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like, yeah, the glue of the family. I just thought, okay, mum passed, glue of the family is gone. But I realized later on, I didn't know how to approach females. Like, I didn't know what a female was. Like,
You didn't have that feminine energy in your home.
nothing.
Yeah.
No cousins, no sisters, etc.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So then I got pulled into, like, young adult, broken family, gangs, etc. And even how gangs shape females. It's objects. You use them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
They're
I had
for
this
pleasure.
as pleasure,
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
a very
Trophies.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a very objectified lens I got on females going into dating, which was very interesting. But it was also this deep longing behind the objectification of, I just want that female closure almost, or love or connection.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a wild swing, a lot of my relationships.
Mm.
But I've learned something about myself through each one.
Oh, they're never lost, right?
Not
They're
at all.
always lessons. So gang life.
Yes.
Okay, I would imagine that that's gotten you into, and I know nothing, right? And I said to you when we were connecting for this, don't tell me, because again, we're human and we can't help but judge.
Yes.
And I don't want to judge you on anything from the past. We're going to figure it out. The topic today is how can men and women be allies? Right, and not compete with one another and really be in their own lanes and yet support each other harmoniously. This is the goal, right? That
Love
we
it.
just continue the lifespan as allies and not competitive and objectifying each other. Women do the same to men too. Is there anything or particular experiences, I'm guessing in your teen years, that just broke you a little?
Wow. I'll say not my first girlfriend, but I would say my first love.
Mm-hmm.
So this was from my ages of 17 till 21.
Hmm.
And this is also when I started to get pulled deeper into gangs, and all I really cared about was reputation, because I thought that would give me something that, like, give me some power that I had lost, like
Yeah.
something in this world, because I felt
Yeah.
like a shell after mum passed,
Yeah.
some sense of belonging. So as I was consumed in getting reputation, this poor girl was my partner throughout this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never like violent towards a woman. That's never been my thing. But
Mm.
I was just very unavailable, and she was second to the gang or my reputation, etc.
Bros before the girlfriend, huh?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And so prioritizing the boys,
100%.
essentially, or gang life or whatever it is that you're amongst. Are you conscious of this, that you were doing this to her?
Not at all until 3.5 years into it. She was like, "I don't think I love you anymore," and
Mm.
that broke me.
You didn't see it coming?
No, no, I was too blinded. I was naive. I took things for granted, and that shattered me. I remember just whimpering, like that level
Mm.
of tears, because
Mm.
I didn't realize this, but it sort of felt like mum had died again.
You lost another
I
woman.
lost another woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So here we're having history repeat ourselves, but we
yeah,
don't realize our role in
yes,
this, right? And look, you wouldn't be the person you are today had you not had that. So I'm sure you do have the gratitude for having that. It's beautiful to have your first love. It's such a beautiful experience. Many people don't even get to have that at that
true.
age. So try and keep it positive. Do you have contact with her by any chance?
No,
Do you know
no.
anything about her now?
Last I saw, she I think she found someone like
Mhm.
3, 4 months after, and that ended up being a person.
Hmm.
Got married, had kids. Happy for her. She got what she deserved.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so
Yeah.
too.
We got to just send love, right?
That's it.
Send love out there. Yeah. I found out many years later that my first love was married with 3 daughters. And I was like, I was just nothing but joyful for him because he's just such a good person.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's good. I'm happy for him. And his purpose was for just to help me grow and understand. I didn't know what love was. So
yes,
my parents are, touch wood, still around. My dad's 80, my mum's 76. They're still married 50 something years. And it's not a marriage that is unusual for I'm Cypriot Turkish, our culture. It's like you stay married no matter what. And they've had huge ups and businesses failing, businesses doing really successful, 3 kids, immigrants, learning the language, learning the culture, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But not the intimacy that I was hoping to have for myself.
mm,
What I got from it was my dad just prioritized family and providing.
yes,
Right, you can't fault the man for that, but that dude needed some therapy, still does, and he's okay. I force it on him now, and he's like, "Mm." He's too old to give a shit right
yes,
now, right? My mum, she's much more open and more youthful about like, how do I continue to improve and grow even at this age, which I think is
mm,
wonderful. But honestly, if they were married like earlier days now, they wouldn't have survived. Right?
not at
There's
all.
no way that marriage would survive. And I can say this with my hand on my heart. Thank God they did. Right? Like they really are meant to still be together. I really, really believe that, despite the horrendous things that they've experienced as a couple. So, I mean, what do you expect after 55 years of marriage? It's not smooth sailing, and I don't think any long-term married couple can say that they've never had things to overcome. So, it leads me to this: how many relationships do we have before we go, maybe it's not that we need another person, maybe it's we need to make the commitment and stick around and figure it out even in the low seasons. There are exceptions to the rule, right? There's exceptions where it comes to abuse and violence and all of those things. So take those instances out. But I don't love him anymore. She's had an affair, or he's just mental health issues. She's lost herself. Like, there's a million stories I could tell. Heard so many in this lounge right here, and I'm out. I just don't want to. I'm ready for something else. Is it really the answer another person, another partner, or is it let's work inside and make it happen with the one you have? I don't have the answer to that, Chant, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about the last 2 months a lot, or I was seeing somebody that I really thought was the one that was, again, just another mirror in certain ways, but also I got to see through a lot of my own illusions, my own expectations.
Right.
So then the first thing you sort of think is like, because I know what I want and what I want in life. So you think like, okay, let me just carry on looking for what I want. Or you can decide to actually look at yourself for a moment, even if it's a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the other side of that coin where you can work on yourself now for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And block everything. So I always find the way is always in the middle. It's working on yourself and being open and vulnerable, and this is where a man taps into his feminine to feel what he's feeling, and therefore be willing to see what he's seeing, what he needs to see or can see, was willing to see, but at the same time staying open for whatever may come along, but also understanding that like lust is a thing too. Like a man especially, right, like can just say a yes to something to scratch that insecurity or to meet that lust. But then lust can almost blind you into thinking it's love as well. So, man, there's a lot of like self-awareness that I believe is critical. And I think, I got led into it through business, but it's paying dividends in the relationship game for me now.
Personal relationships. So speaking of personal relationships, what value do you feel for men is it to have a good circle of mates?
Critical. And
Why?
I feel not just mates, but different circles. Like your professional circle is just as critical. Because I feel like sometimes your mates and the bros you can have almost a toxic way of a toxic camaraderie, but as long as it's just male banter and you're not putting any seriousness on it,
Right.
it's fine. Like I have circles that you would look at a group chat and it's like, that's so bad. And we laugh and we giggle, etc., almost like little boys.
Yeah, locker room type
Exactly.
conversations, right?
And that's fine, but if
Yeah.
that's all you have, you might think that's reality, and that's dangerous. So I also have other groups, more professional, where we don't have that locker room banter, but we almost hold each other to a proper standard of what a man should be or could be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have that in your life?
Yeah, I've actually created that. I've ended up being that person for a lot of people and ended up creating my own groups as a product of that. So I have spaces where I can go in and be like, tell me what I need to hear, not as a locker room thing, but what I'm not seeing as on my feminine or masculine side.
So do you reach out to your mates when things are going a little sideways for you?
I do have people that are probably like 3 guys that I could.
Yeah.
And even one of my closest mates' wives, who me and her have a really good friendship.
Yeah.
So I'll even lean on female perspective as well.
I'm going to read something to you, and this is about you.
Okay.
Chent is one of the loyalest people I know. We've shared monumental moments together, and he stood beside me through almost every version and chapter of myself. He was the first person to show me how to tap into my potential and believe in myself, and he was the catalyst for my own personal and business growth. Chent is more than a friend to me. He is my brother. He loves my family like his own, and we all love him right back. Levi, Acacia, Jen, Darren, and of course Maya, love and appreciate you for life. They're your flowers, Chent.
Yeah.
And it truly is important that we give flowers when we're in life, not at the end of life. How does it feel to hear your mate speak about you like that?
I'll be very honest. there's something in me that I know that, but there's something in me that still doesn't believe that.
After that,
Yeah, it's crazy. And that points me to what I need to look at, what I need to.
you know that he thinks of you in that way?
Oh, no doubt. And I know many people do. And
Yeah.
I think this is like what I notice is like here's the thing, right? You can do all the work and you can play the guy, and then even on social media or whatever. But when you're in relationships, you can even play it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that vulnerability is like taking off that armor.
Mm-hmm.
And then you now have to still face like, do you really believe that on a heart level? Like I can believe that on a mind level and be a man about it,
Mm-hmm.
but like true freedom and liberation, I find, is really feeling like where you don't believe that and being open and okay to admit that and say that.
Who is this person to you?
Shh. As in like the person, or
No, the relationship that you have. Is he just a work friend? Is he like one of the boys? Like, who is he to you?
the person I'm speaking about,
Yeah,
or that person?
this person. Yeah.
Oh, it's just, how would you even put a label on this person? It will be either Darren or Jen, obviously, but
It's Darren.
Darren,
Yeah.
uh, more than a brother, more than family, more than a mirror. I
Do you
can't
trust him?
endlessly.
Okay, so why are you questioning what he just said about you?
I think it's more for me in the realms of relationships where I don't see that in myself.
I'm not talking about anyone else but Darren and you.
Yeah,
You
fair.
believe that what he said about you?
No doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Okay. That's one.
Yes.
It's 1% shift, right?
Yes. 100%.
Touche
100%.
on that one. It starts with one, right? And
100%.
then it stacks. He's not saying that to, I asked around and said, who is Chent's best friend? And this is who came back to me.
Yeah.
I reached out to him. I said, if you could tell him you love him, how would you say it? And that's how he said it. And it's actually, I got the idea from this group in New Zealand, actually, ironically enough. And it's a bunch of men who have had some pretty heavy stuff going on. And they bro talk mainly and struggle to express their feelings, and they're forced to listen to the people they love the most, males, tell them how much they love them. And it's very hard for them to hear it. They struggle to even comprehend, and it might take a few days for it to sort of sit in, but you don't typically sit with your buddies and tell each other, dude, man, without you, I don't know how I got through that. Maybe you do, I don't know, but even women don't have enough of those post event follow-ups and say, thank you for that time. I really needed it back then in reflection. And I think it's important because then when he needs you, he'll feel comfortable to say, hey, Chent, I need you to come in and step in and whatnot. Because if you don't allow him to do that for you, then you can't go to him for the same thing. And don't you want to be his person?
Oh, no doubt. And don't get me wrong, me and him have that relationship.
Fine.
Yeah,
You're sitting down.
We say
yeah,
anything and everything,
great.
and I do express my love a lot to him.
Yeah. Do you think that men in general are comfortable doing that?
Not sober.
Yeah, well, I'll add that in there too. That's okay.
Yeah.
Some of us need Dutch courage.
Oh, of
totally.
course, of
yeah.
course.
Do you think they should?
100%, 100%. I would say there's a time and space, because sometimes you do it once and then you want to do it more, and then that swing happens. From my own experience, I can only speak, where you start losing that masculine drive and edge and leadership if you go too far into it. But then sometimes I look at, there is no such thing as balance. The only balance is imbalance, and every season in life you're going to be pulled more into either feminine or masculine. But again, some males would probably only be on the side of the pendulum for their whole life. So I feel like it is healthy in seasons to express yourself and feel whatever is coming up, but at the same time, you can also stay there too long. Arguably.
Right, I agree with you. 100%. You've got to process it and move forward.
100%.
Right? Don't get stuck. So with the business 1%,
yes,
or 1% shift, what's the catalyst of that?
Oh man, it would be coming to a point in life where I felt so trapped in an identity and thinking this is my life, for then one shift, one perspective, the smallest thing to change everything. and then seeing the trajectory that set me on, and then looking back in the span of 3 to 5 years, and I'm living not just a completely different life, but a whole another dimension, reality. Like I can't even fathom that I think like this, that I live like this, that I am like this, and seeing how it all of it just took one thought. Where a lot of what I've seen out there that, says transform, change is all programs, thousands of hours, etc.
Yeah.
But it's actually so simple, but that simple thing will just point you in a direction which will be the hardest thing you ever do, which is question every fabric of your character. And that's the cost of that shift.
Yeah. Are you a little tired from going for it constantly?
I would have been brought to that tiredness 2 years ago, and I stopped going for it for about a good 2 years, or at least until now. And then I redefined, or I found a new definition of going for, which is I'm being pulled towards. And I noticed that when I stopped going for it, I was actually in resistance with the pull, and it was actually more resistance. I was forcing myself to not go for, which I guess helped me really define like what is driving me. Or,
Don't try too hard, and allow for things to flow as well. You got to give things space.
That's it.
Yeah, I've learned to do that. Like even like this morning, for example, we've got a full solid day of recordings, and a couple of our guests had to reschedule. And my initial thought was, and I was picked up the phone to then blast out like help essentially. And what are we going to do? And I was like, just let it sit. And it's not my style, right? My style is to just go in and then like, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it right now. And then there's roll-on effects to that. And so I went against my natural instinct, but I'm really trusting this process of slowing down essentially and allowing things to just fall as they may. And when I did that, it gave space for the universe to bring in things to me rather than me try and really like force it. And this is a shift that I've been doing over the last almost a year, and it's working really well for me. Which is just not wanting to control everything and allowing that it can all work. You got to put things in place, of course, right? But there's just an element of control that I've let go a bit, and that makes me feel a bit more in my feminine, to be honest with you. 100%. So that's been a really nice change. You do a lot of leadership type coaching work, right? Why do people in general come to you for that?
I would find there is like the self-development market is huge. Personal development is huge. There are a lot of people, when they actually work with me, they would have done a lot of courses, retreats already. They would have spent the thousands, and they have a saturation of information. They know what to do. They have a general understanding of what they want to be, but they just don't apply it, and they don't know why they can't apply it. And it's a very confronting conversation when I sit with you, because I'm going to point you I'm going to show you why you can't, or why you don't, or where you don't. And then I'm going to give you a decision if you're ready to walk through that door. And sometimes my conversations with people are just the planting of seeds. I know that that's not a conversation to push or the door. Sometimes they're not ready to walk through that door. Similar to me, like I've had my own sort of mentors. I've spent so easily 100,000 plus into like courses looking for the thing, the secret. But then there was just certain people that just reality checked me. And a lot of those reality checks went an instant. It was just like, I was just like, F this dude. That's what I was thinking. But then 2-3 years later, it just slowly sunk. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, I see it now. But if they didn't plant those seeds, I wouldn't have had those realizations. So I think just inspired by that is my approach, because I used to be the course seller. I used to run the masterminds. I used to speak on stage and close the room and etc. And then run the masterminds with 20-30 people on Zoom. But I saw that I was just almost part of this wave of selling band-aids rather than pointing people towards the cure. And that's where once you see that, and if you stand by truth, you can't just sell what you perceive to be a lie. So that's why I do what I do, how I do it.
Is there a common thread of what that final tipping point is for people?
Suffering.
We talk about suffering so much at My Julie. Okay, explain that a bit.
It's just coming to the pure frustration, and suffering isn't just like turmoil. Like a lot of the people that I work with is like, they're killing it. They're already crushing it before me. But something is missing, but they can't that
Mm-hmm.
something is getting to them, it's frustrating them, it's
Mm-hmm.
nagging. It's the something they think about before bed when they wake up throughout the day. They're trying to numb that something out by just pushing or sticking to the plan, but that something never gets answered. So the game is like, eventually that something festers like a virus in you,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts really bringing you down and questioning things. And eventually you get to that point, and that's where I can meet people, because I know that something very well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sit with them and speak about that something, it's like they're feeling heard for the first time. Like, you know about my something? Hell
Mm.
yeah. And I know how to move into that something, how to navigate through that something with you.
Yeah. Would you say in general that comes in because of something going on in their personal life and it's impacting their professional decision making?
I would say both. You
Okay.
could be crushing it, and I've seen this many times, like dominating in business, making good money, etc. But it's not answering something.
They're
That's some,
miserable.
yeah,
Yeah.
miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not even misery. It's
Mm.
everything is good, but why aren't I good
Yeah.
fully?
There's a
It's like
lack.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. What is it?
It's honestly, it's gonna sound so
No, say it.
fluffy, but it
Yeah.
is. It's just yourself. You
Mm.
you haven't met yourself, and all the things you're doing is actually almost an unconscious form of avoiding yourself. And if you find yourself, you can. It doesn't mean you got to stop doing what you're doing, but at least you can do things as yourself now.
Yeah.
So it's a flip, but you got to go inwards to meet yourself for that self to come outwards,
Mm-hmm.
and be then infused into everything you do.
Yeah. I think we're all guilty of outsourcing what we feel is required in order to feel whole. The obvious ones are relationships, or to then eventually have kids. When I become a mum, I'll know it. Or when I become a wife, I'll know it. Or when I become a millionaire, I'll know it. When I have the third property, I'll feel it. The reality is, within you can get to a really whole place, and it is the fluffy stuff. I've always wanted to go there but was never really understanding how, or like, do I, and
Mm,
all of this sort of stuff. And 2025 like was my final, like, yeah, you just, it's no one else but you. It's just no one else but you. And I said it to a friend yesterday. I'm so in love with myself right now, but it's 48 years coming, and it's there was a lot of suffering, and a lot of rejection. I can't use any other word for it. Just constantly being rejected, in various aspects of life, personal, business, the whole thing. And just going, okay, regardless of the rejection, could you just make yourself happy if you had A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Just pretend. It's a form of therapy, right? To just
yes,
think as though you have it, and see if you can achieve that endorphin, or the feeling of it. And I have managed to do it, and
beautiful,
it's purely gratitude. I go, well, I'm breathing. I
100%.
am. It just is what it is. But it's hard to do, and it is a process, and it is slowing down, and it is surrendering.
Mm.
Yeah, true surrendering. I got to ask you about your tattoos. Where, what, how?
I think it all starts with my first one,
Mm-hmm.
which is my mum.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Naya is the last name, and her
Okay.
first name was Saris. So S Naya, and her years. It's
Mm.
interesting. Tattoos began for me as an image. Like, I obviously, in that world,
Yeah.
you want to be tatted up, you want to look,
Yeah, part of the gang.
yeah, part of the gang.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then I saw like everyone was either getting remembrance tattoos or their neighborhood, which I have on my shoulder. So I was
Ah.
like, I haven't earned this one yet.
Uh,
I want to get this. And
right.
I come from an Indian family,
Mm-hmm.
so tattoos are no go.
No. Yeah.
So I remember sort of testing the waters with my dad, and I got this, and then I was like, he can't say anything about
Who's gonna
this.
say no to that, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
in a weird, cheeky way I got it for that, like
Yeah.
that reason. And that was
Mm-hmm.
like uh, popping my tattoo cherry.
Yeah.
And then and then I showed my dad, and first thing he said is that permanent? So we had a little laugh about that.
Yeah.
But then after that, it started as I got more spiritual or
Mm-hmm.
led by intuition,
Mm-hmm.
I would have body parts start glowing to me. Like, I'll feel a sensation, and I don't know what that is or where that is, etc. And then
Yeah.
a piece would start forming.
Yeah.
And then, like, a theme, I started to realize like this canvas the story was being told on my body, and
Mm.
each sort of side had its own theme. So this became the side of like loss,
Mm.
grief, but also like spirituality, ascension. So mum, when she was battling cancer and she sort of had like she sort of started to lose hope. She had this Mother Mary picture next to her bed, and she would always pray to that, hence Mother Mary. Durga, which is another like a feminine god that she would pray to. These ones are a recent partner. This is just more culture. This one it starts off as like water. It represents like the all-seeing eye, or like what we truly are. So it starts off as like water, trees, sky, cosmos, and it's got an eye over here, and that eye is this thing that plays Chent, etc. So that's that, and this side is all.
Before you move on, and you got the
Yes.
444. Is that your mother's angel, or?
These fours are actually personal, but I'll share this.
Oh.
I'll share this. So this is my most recent tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with somebody, the person who I really thought was my one,
Yeah.
and she really reflected my level of symbolism. Like I've never met anyone as deep as this, as in like how she speaks to the universe. I feel like I speak to the universe. So for her, she had this 444 tattoo over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you jump the gun and you start to think like, I'll definitely propose to this girl, etc. And I know she's a very quirky, interesting girl. So she wouldn't do the classic diamond ring. I already knew these things, but we had these little things. So this was like a beautiful, she has something similar in her own way that represents her, but it was our connection. And I knew like fours had been a number. There's always been numbers that follow you in seasons that mean whatever it means to you, right? I think people go too deep into the numbers sometimes, but I really wanted to get those fours as what the fours had been leading me throughout a whole relationship and before her, and she had those fours as well. And it was actually something I was trying to push to get like 2 weeks before it ended, and I never got it. And for some reason, I go into the tattoo store, no one was free, so it was like a sign not to get it there. But I realized like at the same time, it's someone that. It's so deep. I really thought it was, the red string theory. I really thought or felt, and it's still, who knows, life will happen. I really felt that was my red string. That's one reason.
Like
Another
the
reason.
cord?
Yes, the cord that two people, because we had a very unique coming together. Wow. It just, a lot of things happen. But one side, it's the red cord, excuse me. Second side, this is another funny one. So my gang's color was blue. So
my favorite color.
Yeah. So okay. Like red is something I would never touch, never wear.
Right.
But I'm beyond that now. So this is my first red tattoo as well. So it's also a reflection of liberation for me.
Yeah.
And
moving
even
forward.
Exactly. And through this past relationship too, is like I really actually found self-love on a very deep level through that loss. I found a more deeper me. So it's self-love, it's guidance, it's liberation, it's many things. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. The ones on your face and neck are particularly of interest to me for the fact that you can't hide them, right? Yes. You can't chuck on a long sleeve, and so they must have a pretty strong connection to you. And like, what are they?
Yeah, I'll go with this and then this one over here. So when I realized my path, I was personal training at this point. I'd left, so I went from gang worlds to civil engineer, civil engineer to personal, of course, right?
Yeah,
civil engineer
just
to personal trainer.
Process. Yeah, as we all do. Go on.
To personal trainer, and then in personal trainer, I started working for myself, and then that's when I realized, like, it started to scare me where I was being pulled. I was like, I'm a natural introvert. I just want to hide away. Wow. But the calling was calling me. Camera, lights, camera, action, purpose, stage, impact millions. And I was when I started to realize that, I started to get like downloads. This whole glowing thing. Firstly, the back of my neck started to glow, as in like, really, a tattoo there? What are my clients gonna say?
Are you in like meditation when you're having these moments, or like when is that coming to you?
Yeah, I find without tangenting too much, like what is meditation? Is you're stilling your mind. To step back and connect with something, and that something speaks loudly to you, and it gives you answers, etc. Here's the thing: is even though we're not meditating right now, that something exists now, so it's ever present. And I find once you become curious about that, like right now I tap into that something to speak through me rather than me having to speak from my mind. So I've built a strong connection, and I think it's always maybe through the suffering of my mother and whatnot, and deep internalization at 14, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
I just noticed that something guides me in every moment, and that something is what leads me to touch this thing, go over here, say this. It's almost like not even an impulse, but an intuition.
Yeah.
And that is that, I would say, that same state that you achieve in meditation. I feel like it's on at all times for
Ever
me.
present for
Ever
you.
present.
What a gift. Okay, so it glows up, you get your neck, and now we're right on our face. Hey?
Yes.
What is that?
So this one here
Do
says
you mind just turning your head a little bit?
sure.
Yeah.
So it says prolific. This
Oh,
was
right.
an influence, actually, from an influence rapper called Nipsey Hussle.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And even though, a lot of people jumped on this, like, rest in peace when he passed, like, why it was so symbolic for me is I encountered his music in 2009, and he evolved with us. So in 2009, he was rapping about street, enemies, zero fucks, retaliation, and that was my life at 19. So I resonated with that. And then when I got to about 23, 24, he dropped a different album called, like, Mailbox Money. Now he's talking about equity in businesses, and I was already thinking like that. So he was almost like a weird blueprint that was evolving as I was evolving. So I always saw him as guidance. And then I think it was 2017.
Then you got shot.
Yeah, exactly. And then that was a big blow to me, because it's almost like a role model, a mentor that didn't know me had passed. Who do I look at now? And he had prolific over here.
Yes.
I was thinking about this, but I decided to do this.
Yeah. I've always looked at his tattoo there and just always wondered what his meaning was to have it, like what's prolific for him.
Yes.
I mean, he's an abundance of lyrics, and he's a lyrical, like, I really love him. And following his partner Lauren and how she's processed this kind of tragedy, right, and left with the kids and whatnot, and that's been interesting to sort of observe from a distance. But I've got so much to say about rap culture and younger generations watching it and admiring it, and then emulating it to an extent, for good and for bad. But I'm loving the fact that this, particularly the old school guys, right, that came out in more the 90s, they're kind of all in their 40s and 50s now, and they're really openly talking about, not all of them, but many of them are now really talking about the value of relationship. The value of family, the value of being there for your kids, particularly as men, right? Not to, take the role of fatherhood so seriously, regardless of what happens with you and your baby mama and things like that. And just understanding that in the end of it all, you're left with yourself and your conscience. And it's not just about, the strippers in the club and shaking the booty and encouraging all of this behavior that is just zero meaning. Like, it leaves you feeling really empty. And the dangling of the jewels and whatnot, it's like, okay, like, we're not now talking anymore. We still have to discuss about getting out of the hood, and in our case, getting out of, low income neighborhoods in Australia. I come from the west of Melbourne, and so, ignorant as anything. So if there was gang life there, I knew nothing about it, right? I'm just like, I don't have an understanding of that. But yeah, I love pop culture, and getting this idea of the jewelry as a symbolism of I got out.
Yes.
All right. Okay, what's on the other side though? Outside of the diamonds, right? Outside of the girls, outside of the cars, because it doesn't equal wholeness, i.e. joy, happipiness, or lack of suffering. We'll move on to the one that no one can not see, the neck. What does it mean?
Yeah, this was interesting. After I got the back of my neck done.
Which is what? I can't see it, but what does it mean?
So it's I just wanted a pattern here that reflected my culture, my heritage. So it's like a Sri Lankan pattern.
Okay.
It's two peacocks just with a design. And then from there,
well, peacocks on stage, right?
100%, and it's a very Sri Lankan thing. This one was interesting. I started to develop this voice. It's one thing showing up online and saying it, but you get a lot with that. A lot comes with that, as you would know, as anyone would know. Depending, like, if you actually tell the truth, be ready for what comes with that, because you can say what you think will fit into this world and just be part of the noise. But if you feel like you're driven by a purpose, sometimes what's coming through you is the opposite of what everyone is saying and wants to hear. You're going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but
That's hard to do.
very much so.
Yeah.
And when I started to realize that that's me, that's my duty, etc., I felt like symbolic. I started to look into obviously chakras and throat chakra and the blue lotus, etc. So initially it was going to be a big blue lotus, but the blue lotus is over here now.
Yeah.
The same sort of voice, I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing it just primarily to stroke my ego. So this is when I went deep into my spirituality, culture, religion, and I associated a lot with one of our Hindu gods, Shiva, who's like a god of strength. So this is actually Shiva's trident, and he's got a infinity symbol on where his third eye is, that represents awakening too. So it's a mixture of the trident, the third eye, and the blue lotus, but it reflects my voice and my boldness that I'm here. I'm here to say something. And also, there's no going back once you get this. I can't go back to civil engineering.
Well, probably you can these days.
Yeah,
no one cares
true.
anymore. It reminds me of vocal cords.
Yes.
Right? And so, yeah, obviously your voice. But yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot in the village about Shakti and Shiva here. And very few people know about it, like in our village anyway, particularly women with their Shakti energy and Kundalini awakenings. And that will be another podcast for another time. But it gets me so excited that we can have some sort of guidance and direction to dig deeper. Because fast forwarding to today, do you feel the benefits of going there, as in doing the inner work?
Honestly, I'll be really frank, I probably would have taken my own life many times over if I had it, because that's just the noise of the mind, screaming and crying based on a story it's telling itself, an illusion, but the illusion can be reality. And if you don't step back and you don't build some form of awareness to see that the mind is actually a dialogue, you can see the dialogue rather than be trapped in it. Because sometimes you just want to escape the dialogue, and that's what leads to these things. And I've had friends take their own lives because the reality and the dialogue was too much for them. I've come to that point, but there's always been something that's, I guess, just my life experience, that awareness that is built in me, that not only is it just to save my own life, but the guidance I can be for others, because I can really serve them without saying what I think I need to say as well, which is part of that dialogue. So I can selflessly serve. And that's been a true gift of, I wouldn't even say I went there, I got pulled to it. I could not go there,
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I'm so sick of surface level relationships, friendships too. Like, I'm not talking about just, any kind of conversation, even with someone coming in and just wanting to buy a scrunchie. I'm like, how are you though? Like, I'm really invested in anybody that is willing to be vulnerable with me. If I can't crack them, I have to respect it and leave it. And some people don't need that because they did just come in for a scrunchie, and I have to read the room, right? But it's been so fulfilling, selfishly, to be able to hold space for people, for them to share their real heavy stories. And we've all got them. No one got the free pass, nobody, right? And we're going to have more. So the only thing that I could hope for my child particularly is that I build tools for her to fall onto when life does, knock her around a bit, and not to feel like she has to end her life or she's got nowhere to go. These are really important, tools to have as humans, let alone we want to develop our children with that kind of support. I've heard you say very recently, I no longer look at like the 5-year plan. Why is that?
I would say I do, but
okay.
but like I did say that.
Yeah.
I guess it's where I look at it from. Like, it comes back to what you said earlier, is I'm not looking to get to anywhere, but I can see the natural human desires and almost even the healthiness of having something to go for. naturally, but it's more rather than it used to be the ticking of the box of I
Hmm.
want this by 40. That's
Mm.
the first thing I would think. So at 35, I'm thinking 40 now, or
Sure.
39 at least.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I tried to, like, on my whiteboard, think, okay, what do I want by 40?
Hmm.
I'd done this and I achieved it so many times that nothing came to mind. And I just found myself writing the kind of person I want to be in
Ah,
terms of like, how do I want to think? What are my routines and habits like? What's my mind like? What are my circles like? And now it's actually just a map of a person that I can start being today.
yeah.
And as I start to try be him today, everywhere that opposes why I'm not him starts to come up. So now there's like work that I get to do to become him in 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, and you'll get all the other stuff, right? All the
Yeah,
superficial material
that
type
comes and
stuff.
goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
at different levels too.
yeah. Wow, that's so cool. You do have these conversations with some of your mates. So I think that's really important for your generation as well, to have it with the generation before you
Mm.
too. I do have concerns for the 20 something year old guys right now because I know a lot of them in my friends network, and they're really kind of going, like, I just don't know my definition of manhood.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's a real need for people like yourself, Chent, to lead the way, because it's not for me as a woman. I
Mm.
really strongly believe that my gender as a woman serves best for certain things, and
True.
it's not to lead 20 something year old guys. I think wiser men who I respect and who have done honorable things like stick around when the times get really tough and treat people with love and respect and grace, are really responsible to hold the generation before them and lead the way. So I hope that there are spaces for these guys to go to, and you don't have to have this like on paper traumatic childhood. We'll all get lost, even if we had a pretty good childhood. We're
True.
all going to get lost along the way. Life's
Mm.
complicated. But if you were to give one piece of advice for, say, a 21-year-old guy who's, he's at his prime in reference to high energy and rose-colored glasses, what would you give